Question 1. A project manager is leading an Agile project. During a sprint, the team discovers that a key stakeholder's requirements have significantly changed due to an unexpected market shift. What is the best course of action for the project manager? A. Escalate the issue to the steering committee immediately to request a formal change request approval. B. Instruct the team to pause work, reevaluate the sprint backlog, and hold a refined planning session with the product owner. C. Document the new requirements and inform the product owner to prioritize them for a future sprint. D. Continue the current sprint as planned and address the new requirements in the next sprint's planning session. Answer: B. Instruct the team to pause work, reevaluate the sprint backlog, and hold a refined planning session with the product owner. In an Agile environment, responding to change over following a rigid plan is a core principle, making flexibility key. When significant new information like changed stakeholder requirements emerges mid-sprint, the most agile and effective approach is to promptly collaborate with the product owner to understand the impact on the current sprint and adjust. The product owner is responsible for maximizing the value of the product and managing the product backlog, making their involvement crucial in reprioritizing the sprint's focus. For example, if a banking app sprint is building a new loan feature and suddenly regulations change how loans are approved, the team must address this immediately with the product owner to avoid building the wrong thing. Always remember, Agile projects thrive on continuous feedback and adaptation, so significant changes warrant immediate collaborative review, not deferral or strict adherence to the original plan. Question 2. A project manager is evaluating the performance of a project and has the following data: earned value, EV, equals $400,000, planned value, PV, equals $450,000, and actual cost, AC, equals $420,000. What is the Cost Performance Index, CPI, for this project? A. 0.95. B. 0.89. C. 1.05. D. 0.91. Answer: A. 0.95. The Cost Performance Index, CPI, is a critical earned value management, EVM, metric that measures the cost efficiency of the project work completed. It is calculated by dividing earned value, EV, by actual cost, AC. In this scenario, EV is $400,000 and AC is $420,000, so CPI equals $400,000/$420,000 equals 0.95. A CPI less than 1.0 indicates that the project is over budget for the work performed, meaning for every dollar spent, only 95 cents of value was earned. For example, if a software development project planned to complete 5 modules for $10,000 but only completed 4 for $10,500, the CPI would show it's over budget. Always aim for a CPI of 1.0 or greater, as it signals that you are either on or under budget relative to the work achieved. Question 3. During a project's execution phase, a project manager identifies that several critical quality deliverables are failing acceptance criteria during testing. The project team is feeling demotivated and productivity is decreasing. Which performance domain, according to PMBOK's 7th edition, should the project manager focus on most to address this issue? A. Planning performance domain. B. Team performance domain. C. Delivery performance domain. D. Measurement performance domain. Answer: C. Delivery performance domain. The delivery performance domain, as outlined in PMBOK's 7th edition, focuses on ensuring that the project delivers the scope and quality that the project was undertaken to achieve. When critical quality deliverables are failing acceptance criteria, it directly impacts the project's ability to deliver the expected value and outcome. While team morale is affected, the core issue stems from the quality of the outputs, which falls under delivery. For example, if a new smartphone manufacturing project fails to meet the specified battery life, the delivery performance domain is primarily where efforts would be focused to correct this, perhaps by improving manufacturing processes or components. Addressing the quality issues first will also naturally help restore team morale by reducing rework and increasing successful outcomes. Question 4. A new project manager is trying to understand the different project life cycles. Her current project has well-defined requirements at the outset, and a low degree of change is expected. Which project life cycle is most appropriate for this project? A. Agile. B. Iterative. C. Predictive. D. Hybrid. Answer: C. Predictive. A predictive life cycle, often referred to as a waterfall approach, is most suitable when project requirements are well-defined and stable at the project start, and the scope is expected to remain consistent throughout the project. This approach allows for detailed planning up front, followed by sequential execution phases like design, build, test, and deploy. For example, building a new commercial office tower with established blueprints and building codes would typically follow a predictive life cycle. Remember, predictive life cycles are best for projects where there's a clear understanding of what needs to be done from the beginning, allowing for thorough upfront planning and a linear progression. Question 5. A project manager is faced with a major conflict between two key team members regarding the technical approach for a critical deliverable. Both members are highly experienced and passionate about their respective solutions. Which conflict resolution technique should the project manager employ to achieve the best long-term outcome for the project? A. Forcing. B. Compromising. C. Collaborating/problem solving. D. Smoothing. Answer: C. Collaborating/problem solving. Collaborating, also known as problem solving, is the most effective conflict resolution technique for achieving long-term, mutually beneficial outcomes in a project environment. This approach involves openly discussing differences, generating multiple alternatives, and working together to find a solution that satisfies the needs of all parties, integrating multiple viewpoints. For instance, if two senior architects disagree on the database design, a collaborative approach would involve them sitting down to map out the pros and cons of both designs, possibly researching new technologies, and collectively designing a hybrid or entirely new, optimized solution. While it takes more time up front, collaborating leads to win-win solutions, fostering trust and strengthening relationships within the team, which is vital for project success and team cohesion. Question 6. The project team has delivered a significant increment of work in an Agile project, but it turns out that some key stakeholders are not satisfied because their expectations were not fully met, despite regular demonstrations. What Agile event was likely insufficient or poorly executed? A. Daily Scrum. B. Sprint retrospective. C. Sprint review. D. Sprint planning. Answer: C. Sprint review. The sprint review is the Agile event specifically designed for the Scrum team and stakeholders to inspect the increment and adapt the product backlog as needed. If stakeholders' expectations are not being met despite demonstrations, it indicates that the sprint review likely lacked effective engagement, clear demonstration, or adequate feedback incorporation. This meeting is crucial for showing progress and getting immediate feedback to steer the project in the right direction. For example, if a team demoed a new e-commerce checkout flow but didn't solicit specific feedback on payment gateway integration, stakeholders might later realize it's not what they wanted. Ensure that during the sprint review, stakeholders actively participate, ask questions, and provide constructive feedback, as this prevents misalignment and promotes continuous improvement. Question 7. A project manager is conducting risk analysis for a new product development project. One identified risk is failure of a critical component supplier. The team estimates the probability of this event at 20% and its impact, if it occurs, at $1 million. What is the expected monetary value, EMV, of this risk? A. $20,000. B. $200,000. C. $800,000. D. $1 million. Answer: B. $200,000. Expected monetary value, EMV, is a statistical technique used to calculate the average outcome when the future includes scenarios that may or may not happen. It is calculated by multiplying the probability of an event by its impact. In this case, the probability of supplier failure is 20%, 0.20, and the impact is $1 million. Therefore, EMV equals 0.20 asterisk $1 million equals $200,000. This value represents the average expected cost associated with this risk over many similar projects. For instance, if you face this risk 5 times, you might expect it to occur once, costing $1 million, making the average cost $200,000 per instance. Understanding EMV helps in prioritizing risks and allocating appropriate contingency reserves. Question 8. A project team is nearing completion of a complex software integration project. To ensure all project work is complete and formalizes the closure of the project, which of the following activities is most important? A. Releasing team resources and updating organizational process assets. B. Obtaining final acceptance of the deliverables from the customer or sponsor. C. Conducting a comprehensive lessons learned session with all stakeholders. D. Archiving all project documentation and closing all project contracts. Answer: B. Obtaining final acceptance of the deliverables from the customer or sponsor. Obtaining final acceptance of deliverables from the customer or sponsor is the paramount activity for formal project closure because it signifies that the project's objectives have been met and the product or service has been successfully handed over. Without this formal acceptance, the project remains open and subject to further work or scrutiny, potentially delaying resource release and final payments. For example, if a construction project completes a building, formal acceptance means the client has confirmed it meets all specifications and is ready for use, allowing the contractor to close out the project. Always remember, acceptance confirms that the project achieved its purpose and allows the project manager to formally close it out, paving the way for other crucial closing activities. Question 9. During a weekly meeting, a project manager learns that a key resource for an upcoming critical task has suddenly become unavailable due to an emergency. This resource has unique expertise vital for the task. What is the best immediate action for the project manager to take? A. Inform the sponsor about the delay and request an extension for the project deadline. B. Update the project schedule to reflect the unavailability and adjust dependent tasks. C. Identify alternative resources with similar expertise and assess their availability and capability. D. Ask the remaining team members to take on the extra work to cover the gap. Answer: C. Identify alternative resources with similar expertise and assess their availability and capability. When a key resource becomes unavailable, the most effective immediate action is to actively seek and assess alternative resources to mitigate the impact on the project schedule and deliverables. This proactive step helps maintain momentum and potentially avoid delays. For example, if the lead software architect is suddenly unavailable, the project manager should immediately look for another architect within the organization or external contractors with similar skills. While other actions like updating the schedule or informing the sponsor may become necessary, finding an alternative resource is the direct problem-solving step that tries to keep the project on track before escalating or accepting delays. Always prioritize finding a solution to a resource constraint before assuming delays are inevitable. Question 10. A project manager discovers that a project deliverable, which was believed to be complete and accepted, contains significant defects that will require substantial rework. This deliverable was critical for the next phase. Which of the following is most likely the root cause of this situation? A. Inadequate change control process. B. Poorly defined scope or quality standards. C. Insufficient risk management planning. D. Lack of a comprehensive communication plan. Answer: B. Poorly defined scope or quality standards. Significant defects in an accepted deliverable often point to fundamental issues in how the project scope was defined or how quality expectations were established and measured. If the requirements or acceptance criteria were unclear, or if quality assurance processes were weak, a deliverable might pass initial checks but still fall short of true stakeholder needs. For example, if a design drawing was approved but didn't specify material strength adequately, leading to a weak structure, the root cause is likely in the initial definition. Establishing clear, measurable scope and quality standards up front and enforcing them throughout the project is crucial to prevent rework and ensure deliverables truly meet expectations. Question 11. A project manager is implementing a new customer relationship management (CRM) system. Several user departments are resistant to adopting the new system, citing concerns about disruption to their existing workflows and insufficient training. Which PMBOK 7th performance domain is most relevant to addressing this challenge? A. Stakeholder performance domain. B. Project work performance domain. C. Planning performance domain. D. Measurement performance domain. Answer: A. Stakeholder performance domain. The stakeholder performance domain focuses on activities and functions associated with stakeholders, including identifying, engaging, and working with them to ensure project success. Resistance from user departments due to concerns about workflow disruption and training falls squarely within stakeholder engagement and management. Effectively addressing these concerns involves understanding their perspectives, providing adequate training, communicating benefits, and perhaps tailoring the implementation approach. For example, involving key users in the design and testing phases, or conducting workshops to address their specific fears, directly falls under managing stakeholder expectations and resistance. Successfully navigating stakeholder resistance is critical for project adoption and ultimately achieving the intended benefits. Question 12. A project manager is working on a long-term infrastructure project. Due to evolving regulations and technology, the project scope has experienced frequent changes, leading to significant rework and delays. What should the project manager have emphasized more effectively at the project's outset to better manage this situation? A. Developing a detailed work breakdown structure, WBS, for all deliverables. B. Establishing a robust change control system and baseline management. C. Implementing a strict risk management process to identify all potential changes. D. Focusing on upfront requirements gathering and freezing the scope. Answer: B. Establishing a robust change control system and baseline management. For projects with evolving requirements or external factors like regulations, a robust change control system is paramount. While detailed planning and risk management are important, they don't control the changes once they emerge. A change control system provides a structured process for evaluating, approving, rejecting, or deferring changes, ensuring that all impacts are considered and baselines are updated in a controlled manner. For example, if a new building code comes into effect mid-construction, a change control board would evaluate its impact on design, cost, and schedule before approving the necessary modifications. This systematic approach allows the project to adapt to inevitable changes without spiraling out of control. Question 13. In an Agile project, a team member consistently brings up technical debt issues and proposes refactoring during sprint planning, potentially delaying feature development. The product owner is concerned about delivering new features. What is the best approach for the Scrum Master to facilitate this discussion? A. Tell the team member that refactoring should be done outside of sprint work. B. Instruct the product owner to prioritize technical debt as a separate backlog item. C. Guide the team to estimate technical debt work and help the product owner understand its value in relation to new features. D. Escalate the disagreement to management for a decision on prioritizing technical debt. Answer: C. Guide the team to estimate technical debt work and help the product owner understand its value in relation to new features. The Scrum Master's role is to facilitate understanding and collaboration within the Scrum team and with the product owner. Technical debt is a legitimate concern that affects long-term sustainability and velocity. The best approach is to ensure transparency by having the team estimate the effort for addressing technical debt, then helping the product owner understand the implications of not addressing it, example slower future development, increased bugs, versus the value of new features. For instance, if delaying refactoring a core database module means every new feature will take 20% longer, the product owner needs to see that trade-off. This enables the product owner to make informed decisions about prioritizing technical debt alongside new feature development, balancing short-term gains with long-term health. Question 14. A project manager is leading a project where the team is highly experienced and self-organizing. They require minimal supervision but often struggle with communication across different functional silos. Which leadership style would be most effective for the project manager in this scenario? A. Authoritative. B. Laissez-faire. C. Servant leadership. D. Transactional. Answer: C. Servant leadership. Servant leadership is ideal when leading experienced, self-organizing teams, as it focuses on empowering the team and removing impediments rather than dictating tasks. A servant leader helps the team improve communication, resolve conflicts, and address cross-functional challenges without micromanaging. For example, instead of telling them how to communicate, a servant leader might facilitate a workshop on cross-functional communication tools or help negotiate shared agreements between silos. This approach builds trust, fosters autonomy, and ultimately boosts team performance and morale by supporting the team in achieving their goals. Question 15. The project sponsor has requested a detailed financial forecast for the project's completion, including the budget at completion, BAC, and the estimate to complete, ETC. You have the following data: earned value, EV, equals $300,000, actual cost, AC, equals $350,000, planned value, PV, equals $320,000, and budget at completion, BAC, equals $700,000. Assuming current variances are typical, what is the estimate at completion, EAC? A. $750,000. B. $816,667. C. $800,000. D. $700,000. Answer: B. $816,667. When current variances are typical, the estimate at completion, EAC, is calculated using the formula, EAC equals BAC/CPI. First, we need to calculate the Cost Performance Index, CPI, using EV and AC. CPI equals EV/AC equals $300,000/$350,000 equals 0.857. Now, use this CPI to find the AC. EAC equals BAC/CPI equals $700,000/0.857 equals $816,667, approximately. This formula assumes that the inefficiencies experienced so far will continue for the remainder of the project. For example, if a house construction project planned for $500,000 is 50% complete but has already spent $300,000, the EAC would be higher than the initial budget, indicating a likely cost overrun if performance doesn't improve. Knowing the EAC helps the project manager and sponsor understand the likely final cost and make informed decisions. Question 16. During project execution, a project manager receives a complaint from a key stakeholder who claims they were not informed about a recent critical project decision. The project manager believes the information was distributed via email to all relevant parties. What document should the project manager review first to address this discrepancy? A. Project Management Plan. B. Stakeholder Register. C. Communications Management Plan. D. Risk Register. Answer: C. Communications Management Plan. The Communications Management Plan is the primary document that defines how, when, and by whom project information will be administered and distributed. If a stakeholder claims they were not informed, the first step is to check this plan to verify the agreed-upon communication methods, frequencies, and recipients for critical project decisions. For example, the plan might specify that critical decisions require a direct phone call or a formal meeting, not just an email, for specific stakeholders. Reviewing this plan helps the project manager understand if the communication strategy was adhered to or if it needs to be updated to better meet stakeholder needs, ultimately preventing future communication breakdowns. Question 17. A project manager is performing quality assurance activities. Which of the following best describes the primary purpose of quality assurance? A. Verifying that project deliverables meet specified quality requirements. B. Identifying defects in completed deliverables before customer acceptance. C. Ensuring the project processes used to create deliverables are effective. D. Preventing defects by planning proactive quality activities. Answer: C. Ensuring the project processes used to create deliverables are effective. Quality assurance, QA, focuses on the process of creating deliverables, not just the deliverables themselves. Its primary purpose is to ensure that the processes and procedures used to produce the project's outputs are effective and efficient, leading to higher quality outcomes. For instance, QA might involve auditing design reviews or code inspections to confirm that the team is following best practices. While quality control, QC, inspects the final product for defects, QA focuses on doing it right the first time by improving the how. Remember, quality assurance aims to prevent defects by improving processes, while quality control aims to identify and fix defects in products. Question 18. A project team is constantly struggling with unclear requirements and frequent changes, even after several iterations. The product owner is overwhelmed and unable to provide a clear vision. What is the best approach for the Scrum Master to help the team improve its situation? A. Recommend implementing a strict change control board for all requirements. B. Facilitate workshops to improve backlog refinement techniques and communication between the product owner and the team. C. Advise the product owner to delegate requirement gathering to the development team. D. Suggest switching from an agile approach to a predictive one due to the instability. Answer: B. Facilitate workshops to improve backlog refinement techniques and communication between the product owner and the team. The Scrum Master's role involves coaching and facilitating to improve team and product owner effectiveness. Unclear requirements and frequent changes often stem from insufficient backlog refinement and poor communication between the product owner and the development team. Facilitating workshops focused on techniques like user story mapping, writing effective acceptance criteria, and improving dialogue can clarify the vision and ensure requirements are ready for development. For example, the Scrum Master might organize a session where the team and product owner collaboratively break down large items into smaller, more manageable ones, clarifying details through conversation. This empowers the team to gain a clearer understanding of what they are building and helps the product owner manage the backlog more effectively. Question 19. A project manager needs to determine the earliest and latest possible finish dates for all uncompleted activities. Which of the following project management tools or techniques is most appropriate for this purpose? A. Earned Value Analysis, EVA. B. Critical Path Method, CPM. C. Monte Carlo Simulation. D. Resource Leveling. Answer: B. Critical Path Method, CPM. The Critical Path Method, CPM, is a schedule network analysis technique that helps determine the project's shortest possible duration by identifying the longest path of dependent activities, known as the critical path. A key output of CPM is the calculation of the earliest and latest start and finish dates for every activity in the project schedule, including any float or slack. For example, if a project has activities A, B, and C, CPM would calculate exactly when each can start and finish without delaying the overall project. CPM is essential for understanding schedule flexibility, identifying critical activities that cannot be delayed, and managing the project timeline effectively. Question 20. The project manager is conducting a meeting to discuss how the project will address evolving requirements and potential risks throughout its lifecycle, emphasizing value delivery and frequent feedback. Which type of project management plan component is most likely being discussed? A. Scope management plan. B. Risk management plan. C. Development approach and life cycle tailoring. D. Quality management plan. Answer: C. Development approach and life cycle tailoring. The discussion about evolving requirements, potential risks, value delivery, and frequent feedback directly points to the critical decision of how the project will operate, which is encapsulated in the development approach and life cycle tailoring. This involves selecting whether a predictive, agile, iterative, incremental, or hybrid approach is most suitable for the project given its specific characteristics, including the degree of uncertainty and the need for adaptive planning. For instance, if requirements are expected to evolve significantly, the discussion would lead towards an agile or hybrid approach rather than a traditional one. This tailoring decision fundamentally shapes how the project will manage scope, risks, and stakeholder engagement from the outset. Question 21. A project manager has just completed a challenging project that faced numerous unforeseen issues and stakeholder conflicts. To ensure future projects benefit from this experience, what is the most important activity the project manager should facilitate before closing the project? A. Archiving all project documentation in the organizational process assets. B. Releasing the project team members to their functional managers. C. Conducting a comprehensive lessons learned session with key stakeholders and team members. D. Obtaining formal acceptance of the final product, service, or result from the customer. Answer: C. Conducting a comprehensive lessons learned session with key stakeholders and team members. A comprehensive lessons learned session is crucial because it captures valuable knowledge and insights from the project's successes, failures, and challenges. This information, when documented and shared, can improve future projects and organizational processes. While archiving documentation and obtaining formal acceptance are important for project closure, the lessons learned session actively promotes continuous improvement by transforming project experiences into actionable knowledge. For example, if a project struggled with a particular procurement process, the lessons learned session would identify why and suggest improvements for the next project. This systematic reflection is essential for organizational learning and avoiding similar mistakes in the future. Question 22. A project manager identifies a potential risk that, if it occurs, could cause a significant delay and cost overrun. However, the probability of this risk occurring is very low. The project manager decides to set aside a small amount of contingency reserve and develop a high-level response plan to be implemented only if the risk materializes. Which risk response strategy is being applied? A. Avoid. B. Mitigate. C. Transfer. D. Accept. Answer: D. Accept. The accept risk response strategy involves acknowledging the existence of a risk and not taking any proactive action to change its probability or impact. This strategy is chosen when the probability or impact of a risk is low, or when the cost of mitigation outweighs the potential benefit. Setting aside a contingency reserve, passive acceptance, and developing a high-level plan, active acceptance, are both forms of risk acceptance. For example, accepting a very low probability of a severe weather event means not building an expensive, reinforced shelter but having an emergency evacuation plan ready. This strategy is appropriate when the project team decides to deal with the risk only if and when it occurs. Question 23. A project team is using an agile approach. The product owner is overwhelmed with requests from various stakeholders and struggles to keep the product backlog prioritized effectively. What is the best way for the Scrum Master to support the product owner? A. Take over the product backlog management from the product owner. B. Encourage the product owner to decline requests from stakeholders that are not critical. C. Coach the product owner on various product backlog prioritization techniques and stakeholder management strategies. D. Escalate the issue to the project sponsor to reduce stakeholder interference. Answer: C. Coach the product owner on various product backlog prioritization techniques and stakeholder management strategies. The Scrum Master serves as a coach to the product owner, helping them become more effective in their role, especially with product backlog management and stakeholder engagement. When the product owner is overwhelmed, the best support a Scrum Master can provide is to coach them on techniques like Moscow, must have, should have, could have, won't have, weighted shortest job first, WSJF, or stakeholder mapping to manage competing demands and prioritize value. For instance, the Scrum Master might suggest a session where the product owner explains their challenges, and they explore different prioritization frameworks together. This empowers the product owner to develop their skills and make informed decisions, rather than simply solving the problem for them or escalating. Question 24. A project manager is responsible for procuring specialized equipment for a complex engineering project. The equipment needs to be custom-built and delivered by a specific date. To ensure timely delivery and quality, the project manager needs to engage a vendor with highly specialized capabilities. Which procurement contract type is most suitable for this scenario? A. Fixed price, FP. B. Cost plus fixed fee, CPFF. C. Time and material, TNM. D. Fixed price with economic price adjustment, FPIPA. Answer: B. Cost plus fixed fee, CPFF. For custom-built specialized equipment where the scope might not be fully defined up front or significant risks exist, a cost plus fixed fee, CPFF, contract is often the most suitable. This contract type reimburses the seller for all allowable costs incurred plus a fixed fee payment calculated as a percentage of the initial estimated costs. It provides flexibility for changes in scope or unforeseen challenges, which is common with custom work, while ensuring the seller receives a fair profit. For example, if designing a new type of rocket engine, the exact cost isn't known, so a CPFF contract allows the vendor to cover their actual costs and still earn a profit, sharing some risk with the buyer. This type of contract is best when the buyer wants to share some of the cost risk with the seller to achieve a highly specialized or uncertain outcome. Question 25. A project manager discovers that a project team member has misinterpreted a critical design specification, leading to incorrect work already being performed. This is a recurring issue with this team member. What is the most appropriate action for the project manager to take? A. Reassign the team member to less critical tasks. B. Issue a formal warning to the team member about their performance. C. Provide immediate, specific feedback and offer targeted coaching or training. D. Document the incident and discuss it during the next formal performance review. Answer: C. Provide immediate, specific feedback and offer targeted coaching or training. When a recurring performance issue like misinterpreting specifications arises, the most constructive and effective approach is to provide immediate, specific feedback, followed by offering coaching or targeted training. This addresses the root cause of the problem directly by improving the team member's understanding and skills. For example, if a developer consistently misinterprets user stories, the project manager should sit down with them to review the specific misinterpretations, clarify expectations, and perhaps arrange a session on reading design documents. Reassignment or formal warnings don't resolve the underlying skill gap, while delayed feedback misses an opportunity for timely correction and improvement.